The battlefield was a shattered landscape of scorched earth and twisted metal. Deep craters pockmarked the ground, marking where the first wave of the alien bombardment had struck. The night sky was ablaze with flares and tracer fire, while the air was thick with the acrid scent of ozone and smoldering ruins. On the front lines, human soldiers huddled in trenches, their faces smeared with mud and sweat, as explosions erupted around them like chaotic fireworks. Captain Eliza Rodriguez wiped grime from her brow, her gaze fixed on the enemy forces amassed across the field. The Klaxi had come to conquer Earth, believing humanity would be easily subdued. They thought the species too fragile and disorganized to mount any significant resistance. "Captain, the enemy is preparing another offensive," came the grim voice of Lieutenant Mason, scanning the Klaxi ranks through his thermal binoculars. "Looks like heavy infantry supported by aerial gunships. This will be their big push." Eliza's jaw tightened as she observed the Klaxi formations. The insectoid warriors towering over the battlefield with their armored carapaces began their advance, accompanied by the ominous hum of their gunships above. Their weapons glowed with a sickly green light, powered by some unknown alien energy. "Signal Bravo Company to move into position," Eliza ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos. "We'll hold this line or die trying." The soldiers around her adjusted their grips on their rifles, fingers poised above triggers. Their breaths were slow and measured, but beneath the veneer of calm was a simmering fury, a refusal to yield in the face of an enemy who had underestimated their resolve. As the Klaxi warriors approached within range, Eliza gave the command, "Fire!" The night was split by the blaze of human artillery and rifle fire. Shells screamed through the air, slamming into the alien ranks and sending bodies flying in every direction. High-caliber bullets peppered the Klaxi vanguard, punching through their armored exoskeletons with shocking ease. The gunships descended, strafing the trenches with energy beams that left trails of smoking craters in their wake. Eliza ducked, pulling Mason down beside her as the barrage rained down on their position. "Return fire! Take out those gunships!" she yelled, gesturing toward a group of soldiers armed with shoulder-mounted missile launchers. The human soldiers fired a volley, the missiles streaking up toward the gunships in tight spirals. Several exploded in the air, enveloping the alien crafts in fireballs that lit up the night sky. The remaining gunships swerved and veered away, retreating to a safe distance. However, the Klaxi infantry continued their relentless advance, undeterred by the initial resistance. The ground quivered beneath their feet as they closed in on the human trenches, wielding energy blades that crackled with deadly intensity. But Eliza had prepared for this. She knew that the Klaxi were accustomed to swift conquests and that their real weakness lay in their overconfidence. They believed their superior firepower and brute force would break human defenses. What they had not expected was the human ability to adapt. As the Klaxi warriors surged forward, Bravo Company emerged from hidden positions on their flanks, armed with cutting-edge railguns. With precision aim, they opened fire, tearing through the Klaxi ranks like paper. The aliens faltered, unsure of the new weapon's power and unable to regroup. "Hold the line!" Eliza shouted, her voice rising above the gunfire. She grabbed her rifle and joined in the attack, her shots picking off the Klaxi soldiers who had escaped the first wave of fire. The ground became a melee of gunfire, blades, and broken bodies as the humans pushed back against the Klaxi tide. The enemy's ranks thinned as they were caught in the deadly crossfire, their bodies falling in heaps upon the smoldering soil. In the midst of the chaos, a Klaxi warrior lunged at Eliza, its energy blades slicing through the air. She twisted aside, narrowly avoiding the strike, and then delivered a quick burst to the alien's head, the bullets tearing through its exoskeleton. The creature crumpled to the ground with a wet thud. The humans pressed their advantage, flanking the Klaxi and hemming them in against their own shattered lines. Unable to withstand the combined assault from multiple directions, the aliens finally faltered, their formation collapsing into disarray. The surviving gunships attempted to provide cover for their retreating infantry, but the humans were relentless. Another volley of missiles streaked across the battlefield, finding their targets and reducing the remaining crafts to twisted wreckage. Eliza stood amidst the carnage, her breath ragged and her rifle still hot from the firefight. Around her, soldiers cheered and raised their fists in victory, but she remained focused. The battle was won, but she knew this was just the beginning. The Klaxi had thought humanity was weak, but this night had shown them the fire that burned in the human spirit. "Send a message to command," she said to Mason, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon where the remnants of the Klaxi fled into the night. "Tell them the Klaxi are retreating, but they'll be back, and when they come again, we'll be ready." In the days following their unexpected victory, New Horizons City transformed into a fortress. The once bustling metropolitan area, now scarred by the remnants of alien aggression, bristled with new defenses and a renewed sense of urgency. Captain Eliza Rodriguez became a central figure in the rebuilding efforts, both as a tactical leader and a symbol of human resilience. The human victory had been a wake-up call not just for the Klaxi, but for humanity itself. Intelligence reports confirmed that the aliens were regrouping, their pride stung by the defeat inflicted by a species they had deemed inferior. Satellite imagery captured significant military buildups on Klaxi-controlled moons. It was clear the next encounter would be on a much grander scale. General Matthews, the overseer of Earth's defense forces, summoned Eliza to the Central Military Command. The war room, deep within the reinforced underground complex, was abuzz with activity. Officers and analysts worked around the clock, monitoring every piece of data streaming in from the front lines and spy satellites. "Captain Rodriguez, your tactics saved thousands and turned the tide against the Klaxi. We need that kind of thinking now more than ever," General Matthews said, gesturing toward a holographic map displaying troop movements and strategic points. "We're not just on defense anymore. We plan to meet them head-on, but we need a solid strategy." Eliza nodded, her mind already racing through various scenarios. "We learned a lot from the last encounter. Their technology is advanced, but not infallible. We exploited their overconfidence once, we can do it again. But this time, we need to be proactive." Together they pored over the data. Eliza proposed a series of guerrilla attacks on Klaxi supply lines and communications networks. Disruption tactics, she called them, designed to unsettle the alien forces and delay their advance. General Matthews agreed, giving her the green light to assemble a specialized task force for the mission. As preparations for the counteroffensive ramped up, Eliza took to the field to train her hand-picked squad. These soldiers, drawn from various elite units, were skilled but untested in the kind of irregular warfare that Eliza envisioned. They trained in simulated environments, from dense urban landscapes to the harsh, cratered surfaces resembling the Klaxi moons. "Remember, we're not just fighting for territory. We're fighting to keep our homes safe. Every disruption we cause, every minute we gain, helps protect billions of lives back on Earth," Eliza briefed her team, instilling in them the gravity of their mission. Weeks of grueling training paid off as Eliza's team executed their first strike. Under the cover of darkness, they infiltrated a Klaxi communication hub on one of their border moons. The operation was risky. The lunar base was heavily guarded and fortified. However, the element of surprise was on their side. The strike team disabled the hub with precision, planting explosives and retreating just before the detonation. The explosion sent shockwaves through the Klaxi military networks, disrupting their operations and sowing confusion. News of the successful raid boosted morale across human military ranks and demonstrated the effectiveness of Eliza's unconventional strategies. Buoyed by this success, General Matthews authorized further raids. Eliza's team hit fuel depots, research facilities, and transport convoys. Each strike was a calculated blow to the Klaxi war effort, and with each success, the human forces grew bolder. Meanwhile, Earth scientists worked feverishly to decode more of the Klaxi technology captured during the first invasion. Dr. Helen Choi, a brilliant engineer leading the research team, made a breakthrough with the alien energy shields. "We've figured out how to disrupt their shield frequencies temporarily," she reported to Eliza during a secure briefing. "This could change everything," Eliza responded, realizing the potential of integrating this new knowledge into their combat strategies. With this advantage, they could potentially neutralize the Klaxi's main defensive advantage in upcoming battles. As Earth's defensive and offensive capabilities expanded, The Klaxi grew increasingly wary of their underestimated adversary. Reports of their delayed mass invasion puzzled analysts, but Eliza knew the reason. "They're afraid," she said in a high-level strategy meeting. "They've never faced an enemy like us, one that learns and adapts so quickly." The months of relentless pressure began to show signs of fracturing the once monolithic threat of the Klaxi. Small factions within their ranks debated the wisdom of continuing the war, leading to discord and delays that worked in humanity's favor. As the decisive battle approached, Eliza and her squad prepared for what could be the final confrontation. Armed with new weapons, shield-disrupting technology, and a united world behind them, they were ready to prove once more that humanity was far from weak. They were survivors, innovators, and fierce protectors of their home. The Klaxi had thought humans were weak, but they were about to be proven disastrously wrong once again. The tension was palpable as the final battle loomed. Earth's forces, now better prepared and technologically equipped, stood ready to defend against the Klaxi's predicted all-out assault. Captain Eliza Rodriguez, who had become the face of Earth's indomitable spirit, reviewed the battle plans one last time. Her squad, seasoned by countless skirmishes and covert operations, was poised to lead the counterstrike that would hopefully end the war. In the command center, screens flickered with streams of data and projections. General Matthews, alongside other top military leaders, watched the live feeds from satellites and drones that surveilled the approaching Klaxi fleet. The alien armada was massive, significantly larger than any force they had previously sent. But this time, humanity was not just waiting to be attacked. They had a proactive plan. Eliza addressed her team, her voice calm yet infused with resolve. "This is it. Everything we've trained for, every sacrifice we've made, it leads to this moment. We know their tactics, we've crippled their supply lines, and we've got the technology to break their shields. Remember, we're not just fighting to survive, we're fighting to win." As the Klaxi fleet entered Earth's orbit, the Aegis orbital defense stations, equipped with the new shield-disrupting technology, sprang to life. The stations targeted the leading alien ships, firing concentrated bursts that disrupted their shields momentarily, exposing them to a volley of missiles. Several Klaxi ships were hit, causing chaos in their ranks even before they could organize their formations. On the ground, Eliza led her team on a rapid assault. Utilizing the newly developed exosuits that enhanced their strength and speed, they moved like ghosts through the wreckage-strewn battlefields, heading straight for the primary landing zones where the Klaxi troops were beginning to descend. The battle was fierce. Klaxi warriors, known for their resilience and brutality in close combat, clashed with human forces across various fronts. But the humans had the advantage of mobility and tactical intelligence, using guerrilla tactics that Eliza had perfected over months of conflict. In one crucial skirmish, Eliza's team intercepted a group of Klaxi elite guards attempting to secure a strategic communication hub. Utilizing a combination of hand-to-hand combat and targeted strikes from their railguns, the team decimated the alien force, capturing the hub and using it to send false orders to the Klaxi fleet. This sowed further confusion and discord within their ranks, turning the tide of the battle. Meanwhile, Dr. Helen Choi and her team monitored the battle from a secure lab, providing real-time feedback and adjustments to the shield-disrupting devices. Their work ensured that the orbital platforms continued to neutralize the Klaxi's technological advantages, allowing Earth's forces to maintain air superiority. As the day turned into night, the sounds of battle began to diminish. The Klaxi, overwhelmed by the unexpected ferocity and tactical superiority of the human forces, started to retreat. Their ships, battered and reduced in number, withdrew from Earth's orbit, leaving behind the remnants of their invasion force. In the aftermath, Eliza and her team stood amidst the ruins of what was once a battlefield, now a testament to human courage and ingenuity. General Matthews arrived to survey the scene and to commend Eliza personally. "You and your team have done more than defend our planet, Captain. You've shown the galaxy that humanity is not to be underestimated," he said, pride evident in his voice. The victory was celebrated across the globe, not just as a military success, but as a symbol of human potential. The Klaxi had thought humans were weak, easy targets for their imperial ambitions. They had been proven wrong by the resilience, strategic mind, and fighting spirit of Earth's defenders. The war had changed humanity. No longer seen as the new vulnerable species in the cosmic arena, humans were now respected as formidable and cunning warriors, capable of not only defending their home, but also striking back with overwhelming force. The galaxy watched, and some distant civilizations reached out, seeking alliance and trade with the brave inhabitants of Earth. As peace settled over New Horizon City, Eliza took a moment to reflect on the journey. The battle scars were many, both physical and emotional, but the future held promise. Humanity had fought back, and in doing so, had earned their place among the stars. The war was over, but the story of humanity's ascent had just begun.